a tutor in what's called CCS, which is Creative and Contextual Studies, and also in the composition department. I do individual tuition in composition. The rest of my life is spent composing mostly to commissions, so I lead a double life, as it were. When I came back, I wanted to come back to Scotland. I'd been away for quite some time in between, but when I came back, I got the opportunity to have a post here. It's such a vibrant place, and working with students I find terribly rewarding, particularly with the composition element, because they have new things to teach me, as well as hopefully I have some new things to teach them. And when you get to disco again, how do I start a creative piece? Generally it can be all sorts of things, often non-musical. I'm quite interested in the etymology of words and how words can be used in different ways, and that often triggers the title of a piece from which other ideas can come. They come in funny ways. Caspar Hauser. I wrote this with the librettist, the Edinburgh author Dilys Rose. We'd worked on another project together just before, and we were sitting actually having a drink in Edinburgh. And I said to her, I've got an idea for an opera that I think would make a great opera. And she said, well, tell me what it is, because I'd love to do it with you. And I said, it's Caspar Hauser. And she said, well, I've always wanted to do something with that as well. Caspar Hauser was ostensibly found roaming the streets of Nuremberg at the age of 15, having been fed by a man he called the Man in Black in a hole in the ground for the first 14 years of his life. Because the story is so dark, it really, when you're working in something like opera, you're working in this big medium where everything has an impact, and if the visual and the storyline is so dark and powerful, in many ways you can clutter it up by adding far too much rather dark and dismal music. The score is quite dark and somber, but I tried to make it lyrical, and I also tried to make it very intimate, because it's a deeply intimate story. One of the reasons I wanted to write Caspar Hauser was because there seems to be a gap for emerging voices of the type that we have both here as undergraduates and in the opera school. Opera is this extraordinary medium. I mean, having done this opera, I'm very keen to do another one, because I think it is a wonderfully encompassing medium. It does have everything. It has the visual, the oral. So many senses come into play. One can do so much with it. I think it is the lure of the grease paint. I find it very stimulating watching the students work with these wonderful directors and designers. And I think it is a terrific medium. I, for one, and I think an awful lot of others, need the stimulation of working with other people. And here, it is a hive of activity. There is so much going on, and the students seem to be so hungry to learn things. It's a really wonderful place to work.